Alrighty then, it's time for Team Battle Malphite. Hooray. Thing is, I haven't been able to pick Malphite for a while now. So the thing is, when you play him as a jungler, he's sort of, he's weak, okay? Like, pre-6, he's pretty weak. He's got about the average level of clearing potential and speed and everything, and his dueling is okay. It's just kind of very average. He's, like I always say, jungling B student. And the thing is, that's not exactly what you want right now. You want someone who can put immediate pressure and control the lanes and whatever. Fortunately for me, my opponents are somebody who isn't really gonna demand too much of a threat from the lane. Except in this case, I don't even know why the Zac lost to the Vladimir. I guess because he went super aggro. But in most cases, if you look at the team composition, you'd assume they wouldn't really be too much of a threat. I mean, Blitzcrank will be wanting to go for pulls, but if my teammates aren't dumb, they shouldn't be dying. Of course, you can't always suppose that in solo queue, which is why 2 of them have died thus far, and then 2 more will die pretty much right after I just mentioned that. You see 1 dies right there, and I think, yeah, there you go. So it's 1 and 4 already. That's pretty bad for Malphite, but fortunately for me, I was able to sap some experience early, and I took a little bit of a different kind of path just to maximize the effectiveness of my smite, so I got level 6 quickly. Now, my teammates did an awesome thing for me. They put 2 pink wards in the bushes near river. Meaning, I know they don't even have any wards there, and I also have been told they don't have any wards in these bushes here. So I'm just chilling, hoping not to be spotted by a minion, and waiting for Rengar because I know he wants to gank bottom lane. So I chill out here and I chill as far away as I can, so Rengar doesn't notice me if he uses his ultimate. If Rengar wants to use his ultimate, he'd have to jump on my teammates, and then I'll just waltz in. Then Blitzcrank out of nowhere, like right now, he's gonna start. Blitzcrank out of nowhere just charges in. Come on, do it already. Okay, there you go. He charges in, and Rengar's not even nearby. We don't have any exclamation marks. And then I just show myself, and boom, 2 people get caught in my ultimate. Vayne and Blitzcrank die. Rengar is pretty much by himself, and he gets picked off right after. So it's a triple kill. Unfortunately, none of those kills went to the Tristana, but I'm pretty sure she's just glad that her opponents died a miserable death. That's a huge boost to me as well, because now I'm able just to go home and buy myself a Cinderhulk and speed up my jungle clearing. Now, when it comes to team fights, what I suppose is going to happen is, and I'm hoping, is that I initiate the fight, Zac follows in for control, and by the way, I was going to mention this, Vladimir, he pretty much just fucked himself over. I don't even know what he was trying to do. He went so hard trying to kill that Zac that he ended up getting himself killed. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Team fights, I should be the one to initiate, Zac follow up with his flippity bubble stuff, or he could initiate too, and then I follow up. Doesn't matter which one of us does it. And hopefully Nautilus is the bodyguard to the Tristana. Our team composition relies on Tristana dealing the massive amounts of damage, and well, that was actually really good of Vayne to dodge it, but I'll tell you why that's kind of sucks about my fight. And the Lux is sort of the artillery, completely just picking off people and blowing the enemy team up with the AoE, while, you know, Tristana just grinds them to dust. Anyways, a lot of people do say that Malphite's ultimate is probably one of the best for ganking, and it would be true, yes, but it's also one of the more predictable ones. If you try to do it at a long range, the enemy team has an escape, they can see it coming. They have about like 0.7 seconds, or probably even, I don't even know how many seconds actually. I haven't actually counted properly. So they have a long time to react to it, and you'll see that actually happen a few times. Hell, one of the escapes in this game is honestly pure bullshit. It's actually going to happen quite soon enough when now that my ultimate's off cooldown. Thing is, if you've ever seen my past Malphite games, I try to use my ultimate when I know their escapes are down, or when I can use it as a sort of like instant whammy thing. I try not to use it long range because they can see it coming. You see, I'm trying to close the gap, and soon enough I just use my ultimate when it's like the last resort. He flashed it, and it looked like it should have smacked him, but he flashed away from it, and they got pulled and then killed. So that really sucked for me. But anyways, that's important thing to take into account for a lot of other junglers and a lot of other gankers. It's the little quote-unquote channel time before it smacks the target or wherever you want it to hit, gives your enemy time to react. Even if the reacting to it can be hard, it can be done. So it's sort of best to try to reduce the the time by either closing the gap or forcing out their escape so it doesn't matter when you use it, and trying to just kind of like make the most value out of it. Like even if they dodge it, you hopefully were able to like get other targets inside of it, or you may force them to use multiple summoner spells or escapes or something like that, right? Either way, you can see the early game of the game is sort of going a little bit back and forth. Now we have the lead. We've got some good choice team fights, and we're picking off the enemy team because they're honestly getting a little bit too overzealous. They keep pushing for random kills. Like they were feeding off the Zac, but now the Zac is fine because my bottom lane is able to roam around and start ganking. So our Tristana is getting really powerful, and the Zac surprisingly has a lot of kills too. So even though the Zac's farm is worse than anything you could ever see, he's pretty big. Like, hell, look, watch this. Just the Vladimir gets clipped by the Lux. In comes Zac, cannonball from the distance, and he just pretty much gets annihilated. And instead of just kind of running away, he sticks by the tower, so it allows Lux to just blow him up. So it's kind of like they're just giving us free kills left and right. Well, not technically free kills, but they're easy kills. Now, the first item I bought was Righteous Glory, for obvious reasons. I don't need to go super tanky right away or build too much damage, because it's not coming to play yet. Righteous Glory allows my tank buddies and myself to set up and have better initiations. You know, like I said, this entire team composition we have is all about that perfect setup and to allow our Lux and Tristana to tear the enemy team apart. So Righteous Glory is important. My next item is Abyssal Scepter. Oh, again, just to give myself some damage and boost the Lux's powers a little bit, because if you see, she's fucking huge too. Well, with the Magi's, I mean, the Magi's makes her artificially huge. So I'm just hoping we initiate and just blow the enemy team up, kill the Vayne, and hopefully the Varus at the same time. By the way, this is on purpose. I'm trying to get this Blitzcrank to pull me. I'm trying to get them to use their abilities poorly. So yeah, they do that. Look at Vayne. She ends up tumbling just randomly. It's like, you're not even going to get hurt. And now I'm able just to slam her with my ultimate, and she gets CC down. She survives with a sliver of health because they just burned everything on her. And then Blitzcrank dies. So it's a kill. I was just saying that we got a kill, but it was ridiculously dumb that they did that. It's like, you shouldn't have tumbled. My Q isn't really much of a threat, and you shouldn't have wasted your abilities on the tank. I'm not actually gonna die. So that was totally on purpose, and I want to do that several more times. There's a reason why this video is called Vaynespotting. So now I flash forward, try to catch the Vayne, nothing comes of it, Blitzcrank pulls me, bleh, I just kind of wasted my flash. I don't remember if I buy distortion boots in this game though, but Malphite is one of those champions that he isn't too reliant on flash to initiate or fight or anything, but having it just gives you a huge power boost. And look, I don't know, Vayne just kind of decided, let's go in front. Let's go next to all the goddamn tanks, and she gets CC down to hell before she can kill the Tristana. And as a result, Tristana is able just to clean the fuck up of everybody. Then I ult the Rengar, and we are able to pick him off. So, see, it's just Tristana is just getting big. This is what I want. The Lux is getting big also just by the fact that she's a pretty good player, and she's able to get assists and pick off people and whatever. We get chased. It's actually not going to come to anything. In fact, they're going to chase a little too far. I split from my team. I used my Q on Blitzcrank when he got the speed boost, so I can get an augmented Q speed boost of my own. And then they just keep chasing. Vladimir cuts me off, and I threw myself at him just to make sure that Tristana wouldn't die. I figured I have a really good chance of dying, or so might as well throw my life away. But I saw Zac was coming, so maybe he could do something, and they do. They catch the Blitzcrank, and then the Vladimir's still hanging out for whatever damn reason. And Lux, as you can see from the minimap, is showing up. She snipes the Blitzcrank right now. Oh, pew. And then manages to catch the Vladimir and her CC along with Nautilus. And these kills shouldn't have even happened. Unbeknownst to us, though, they were doing Baron during this time. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody else? They were chasing. Oh, okay, it's Baron. So, yeah, it's not a good situation for us to be in. But again, we have such a huge advantage in kills and in kill spread. Remember, kill spread is usually more important than how many kills you actually have. That we're not too afraid. In hindsight, when you look at the replay, they have 3,000 more gold over us, so it's not significant lead, and I probably attribute that to the lack of gold from Zach. But I gotta mention this is how not to, posture 101. Though Zack is gonna take a lot of free damage for basically no reason. He goes in with really weird initiations and doesn't achieve anything, but he gets chunked down for a third of his health. Regeneration and general blobs will bring him back up to moderately healthy, but he keeps trying to do these weird things and puts his abilities on cooldown. Remember, this is not what you want to do. You want to make equal trade value or whatever. Your E as Zack is one of the most valuable skills that you have. In fact, it probably is your most valuable skill. So you fuck it up and put it on cooldown, your danger, your threat plummets. And he keeps doing that. He goes in, he gets chunked down, they just drive him away. Fortunately, the Varus blew his ultimate, so that was a high value ultimate being blown. But unfortunately, the Zack is at a very low health, and he's going to continue to posture. So, right now, Zack is less of a threat. He blew his own ultimate too, not much of a threat, and I actually kind of don't know why we're sticking around. They're going to initiate the second they see an opening, and I'm trying to put myself in front, along with the Nautilus, just to make sure Blitzcrank doesn't pull anyone relevant. You see, when he gets closer, I throw myself in there. I can't kill him. I was hoping just to pick him off here, but no, he flashes over. I go back because the Rengar is about to pop out on my teammates, and unfortunately, they managed to kill the Lux, as he was very important for this fight. And all hell breaks loose. I threw my ultimate into 3 people, but I just didn't have the personal damage to bring him down. And unfortunately, they still had their flashes up, so Tristana wasn't able to cheese a few extra kills. So we basically died 5 for 3. A lot of resources on both sides of the both teams was blown. It was such a messy and unnecessary fight. It could have gone much better if Zack had his ultimate up and hadn't burned a lot of his health. Because you got to remember, your health is also a resource. You're still useful until you're dead, but having resources helps you pretty much. It just pretty much helps you do things. I mean, that goes without saying, right? Either way, it's all fine. We're not totally dead yet. My next item is, it's being debated for myself. I could go into Thorn Mail, I can go into a Frozen Heart, Frozen Fist kind of thing. It's just up in the air, but I'm pretty much certain that because they have three cutty, stabby guys, Thorn Mail is good. Either way, this is what I mean. I actually just go to the Blitzcrank with full intention of drawing them out, and it succeeds. A teleport is coming in, and I'm still just putting myself in there, and then for whatever reason, Rengar jumps me. Bad idea. He gets pulled by the Nautilus, and even worse idea, for some fucking reason, Vayne goes melee range with the Tomboy, and then just gets absolutely demolished. The flying fuck she thought was gonna happen. So the enemy team engages on me, and I'm like the tankiest dude on my team. I mean, Nautilus is tanky, but he's support, so he has less gold than me. The Zack, when hybrid damage and tankiness and more MR than, armor, says, fuck, what are they trying to do? That was honestly one of the dumbest things, and that, I'm surprised worked. I love doing that as someone who's super tanky and will nullify a lot of your damage if you get to melee range. It's basically I'm making my own gap closer by getting close to you. Anyways, the enemy team engages again. They're not really ready for this, and they engage poorly. I managed to actually kill the Vayne by myself. Tristana unfortunately dies, but we still have enough damage without her because of how fed we are and how powerful the goddamn Lux is. Varus gets caught, he gets annihilated. So the Vladimir's still there. I believe he actually gets away, yeah. So that's unfortunate. He managed to live. But yeah, I love doing that as Malphite or any tank. I shove myself into the enemy team and draw out their ire. If they burn their abilities on me, that's just gravy. I mean, you've seen it in past Nautilus games. You've seen that. Actually, I kind of rewinded here. Remember, you have to have a checklist for Vaynespotting. It's like bird watching. Every time something weird happens with a Vayne, you have to just notch it on your checklist. Here comes Vayne with home guards just strutting at my team, and what the hell do you think happens? She just dies. Just mark it on your checklist. Just heroic Vayne. Anyways, You've seen my Nautilus games. I walk into the enemy team and they burn their abilities. Sometimes they even burn their ultimates just because they're afraid of me. But that just opens them up to being murdered by my homies. Like, you don't do that against tanks. You have to respond to threats with appropriate force. Like, if it's a very killer tank or tanky champion. So, oh, by the way, I'm gonna drum up myself again. You know, this is nicknamed League of Throws for a reason. We get very angsty and we kind of forget that even if Vayne plays like a ham sandwich, she can still destroy us if we let her. So we get annihilated. I managed to walk away and live. Actually, no, wait, Rengar catches me because Lux returns. Okay, never mind. We all die. Really unfortunate. Actually, no, I think Lux lives. Blitzcrank just kind of gets killed. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. We kind of threw that. And they are able to get Baron. Anyways, unless it's something like a bruiser like Olaf or shit, you kind of just generally don't want to burn high value CCs or high value or cooldowns on on a tank or anything. Like if it's Nautilus, you can just generally ignore him. Like you don't burn CC on him just because he's at you. You burn CC on him if you have to escape him because you can see the Tristana is looming ahead. It's just waiting for opportunity to jump in. But if it's just a Nautilus or a Malphite, don't do shit. Like in that, as Malphite, I walked in there and like I was by myself. If they saw that my teammates were gone, they would realize it was just kind of, free damage I was taking. So they shouldn't have blown the abilities the way they did. By the way, here's another really bad fight. It's just so scattered and unfortunate. Zac tries to jump ahead and he gets pulled. My ultimate can't come into fruition because, look, I slam two characters. Lux flashes forward, ends up binding minions instead of the enemy champions. Tristana jumps in, not enough damage to kill her before Rengar murders her, and then Vayne still dies. But unfortunately, we get wiped out. All for one kill. So that's another really bad fight, consecutive bad fight. In retrospect, you can see the enemy team, again, has a gold lead, but again, it's mostly because of Zac couldn't farm properly this entire game. Now, as far as Malphite goes in viability, it's, again, in situations in which he fits. I don't know why the Blitzcrank pulled the air. Like in this case, like I said, he worked out because the enemy team has slow laners. And by slow laners, I mean they're not too aggro, so I'm able just to farm to level 6 and go about my day. The enemy jungler Rengar isn't also going to be looking to kill me, and his ganking is sort of also to level 6, because if he ganks anyone pre-6, it's usually because my teammates let themselves be ganked because they were very careless, and most junglers will be able to kill them anyways in that situation. By the way, this is like a very fortunate snipe by the Lux. She didn't even know he was there. She just decided to laser to get vision, and she ended up sniping Varus. But because of that, we're pretty much able to win from there. Vayne decides to, go melee range again and gets absolutely destroyed. The Rengar, seeing the fact that Vayne just decided to throw her life away again, ends up jumping into us and gets absolutely destroyed. Blitzcrank follows suit and decides to follow his cat to the grave, and with that we pretty much win. So hooray for Malphite, and hooray for, holy shit, this Lux, just, holy shit. Yay! Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I have a few sponsors that are helping me maintain this channel, such as Crunchyroll, Pro Build Systems, and Loot Crate. I have links to these services in the description below. Using them and using my codes directly supports my channel.